Another week, another platinum trophy. This week we are playing as the God of War himself, Kratos, in the game God of War Ragnarok. I have not played this game since completing it when it first came out, so I was really looking forward to jumping back in and of course playing it again. Before we get any further, pressing both like and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it, and don't forget to press that bell icon as well. Also leave a comment letting me know what games you would like to see me platinum for in the future. For God of War Ragnarok we are looking at a total of 36 trophies, 16 of them are bronze, 15 silver, 4 gold, and of course the platinum trophy itself. My first objective is to just play through the game and get it completed, as everything else that I need to do can be done after I finish the story. Plus having the whole world open up will make everything quite a bit easier. Once I have done the story, I can start going through each of the realms and collect all of the collectibles that I need to collect. So our first trophy is story related. While searching for Atreus, we are attacked by a bear. After defeating the bear, it starts to transform and it turns out that it was Atreus all along. For battling the bear, however, we receive the trophy, a grisly encounter. After returning home and going to bed, lightning appears out of nowhere, and who do we see when we go outside? None other than Thor himself. After letting Thor inside, Odin then arrives as well and offers both Kratos and Atreus a deal. Kratos of course turns down the deal and all hell breaks loose as Thor and Kratos start to fight. Thor wants to see the true power of the God of War and eventually feels that power after a punch to the face. Thor then tells us that the blood debt has now been paid and leaves. For battling the God of Thunder, we receive the trophy, Blood Debt. After a bit more exploring and continuing with the story, we are prompted to let us know that we can use the skill tree. For purchasing our first skill from the skill tree, we receive the trophy, Knock Off the Rust. After a lot more exploring this time and continuing on with the story yet again, we finally see Sindri. This is the perfect time for me to upgrade both of my weapons and also my armor. For upgrading just one piece of armor, I get the trophy, Spitshine. Now it's time to buckle yourselves in because there is quite a lot of time between the trophy that I just done and the next one. We went to the mines to see if we could locate Tyr, and by some luck we actually managed to find him. It took some convincing, but eventually we had him on our side and we made our way back to Brock and Sindri's house. After this we played as Atreus for the first time. Our goal is to find Freya, explain what is happening and hope that she doesn't decide to kill us. We have Sindri alongside us as well, and Sindri suggests we speak to the World Serpent and see if he has any information that he can provide us. After speaking with the World Serpent, the only information that he provides us is something called Ironwood. So we go and visit Freya. We tell her that Tyr is alive and that we need her help. However, after binding us for a period of time to listen to us, she tells us to leave and we do just that. We make our way back to the hideout where Kratos and Tyr are coming up with the next stage of what we need to do. They decide it's best we go back to Alfheim, so that is what we do. Not really much to talk about for Alfheim as we travelled there just to find the Jotnar shrine. We head into the shrine with Tyr and we find that Odin was actually lied to. After this startling revelation, we head back to the hideout where Kratos and Atreus start to argue about what they witnessed in the shrine. Atreus goes to bed and then actually wakes up in a random forest. It turns out that this is actually Ironwood. We meet somebody named Agamboda whose destiny is to actually tell Atreus his destiny. We see that Kratos is set to die and this makes Atreus angry to the point where he turns into a wolf. Agamboda calms Atreus down and he turns back into his normal self. From here we go through a sequence of events where we collect food and defeat enemies. We are then taken to a place and given a bag of orbs which actually turn out to hold the souls of the giants. While making our way back, a wolf is captured by somebody known as Grayla. Grayla turns out to be Agamboda's grandmother. We enter her house, make our way to the basement and find a dead snake. Atreus takes one of the giant's orb souls and puts the giant's soul into the snake. This then awakens the snake and it slithers away. We now make our way back upstairs and Grayla returns home. We take on Grayla in battle and destroy her cauldron that she uses to take the animal souls to relive part of their memories. For destroying the cauldron, we receive the trophy called the Cauldron. After this, we are told to leave, and this is exactly what we do. We make our way back to Agamboga's hideout and we rest under the stars. After we wake up as we want to return home, we actually end up in the original house of Kratos and Atreus. Kratos then appears and asks us where we have been, as we have been missing for 2 full days. However, we are then interrupted by a Valkyrie. After fighting this Valkyrie, it turns out to actually be Freya. For battling Freya, we receive the trophy, Backyard Brawl. After this fight, Freya decides to not kill us for now, as she requires our help. She wishes to travel back to her home realm of Vanaheim, as there is something here that prevents Freya from freely travelling throughout the realms. After arriving, we meet Freya's brother named Freya. Before the family reunion, however, we need to focus on destroying the thing that is keeping Freya from travelling between the realms. As we get to the place where Freya grew up, we find what is keeping Freya bound to one realm. However, a huge beast comes through a sort of portal and attacks us. This beast is known as the Nidhogg. After a fierce battle with it, we eventually defeat it. Freya, during the fight, broke the roots of the world tree that was binding her, and she is now free to walk the realms. We got 2 trophies while here. The first is equipping an enchantment. For doing this, we get the trophy How It Started. Then for actually defeating Nidhogg, we receive the trophy Root of the Problem. Time for another long period now without a trophy. However, I will definitely shorten the story down a little bit this time. So, long story short, Atreus went to Asgard and started to help Odin. He found a piece of the mask and was tasked with finding another part. Atreus believed it was in Helheim and was tasked by Odin to go there with Thunder, daughter of Thor, and Heimdall. We ended up freeing Garm and unfortunately not finding part of the mask. We returned back to Asgard and informed Odin that we wish to return home. We gave him the mask back and our new sword friend Ingrid back to Odin, and Odin sends us home. We then travel to the home of Sindri and Brock, and this is where the effects of freeing Garm have taken a toll. There are portals open with Hell Walkers coming through. We help Freya close the portal while Kratos is protecting us. After finally explaining all of this to Kratos, Freya, Mimir, Sindri, Brock and Tyr, Kratos agrees to travel back to Helheim to help Atreus fix his mistake. For this, we receive the trophy, Spartan Ways. I just shortened about 4 hours of gameplay down to like 2 paragraphs. This really doesn't give the game story justice at all. But anyway, we next travel to Helheim with Atreus to help stop Garm in whatever way we can. Atreus has a plan and we help him get on top of Garm's head. He casts a spell and Garm retreats. We continue our search and find Garm, and he seems to be tamed. The spell that Atreus used was to remove Fenrir's soul from his knife and put it into Garm. That meant that Garm is now Fenrir, and Fenrir now has the abilities that Garm does. Just quickly going back though, for battling Garm however, we received the trophy Off the Leash. Another fight now, and this is what will bring Ragnarok. It is a battle against Heimdall. Heimdall put up a good fight, but after pinning him down with the spear and then blowing his arm off with said spear, we eventually defeat Heimdall, and of course this means the start of Ragnarok. For defeating Heimdall, we receive the trophy Comeuppance. At this point, Atreus heads back to Asgard to get any sort of leads on what is happening on Odin's side. He goes with Thor to get the final piece of the mask, and when he does, Thor tries to kill Atreus. We manage to escape back to Brock and Sindri's house with the mask, and Tyr takes an interest in the mask and suddenly knows of a way to get into Asgard. After being questioned by Brock, Tyr snaps and puts a knife through his chest. It turns out that it has been a trick all along. It was never Tyr, it has been Odin. We then watch as Brock takes his final breath. Sindri leaves with Brock, and Kratos and Atreus go to Muspelheim to bring about Ragnarok. They visit the fire giant, who is prophesied to bring the destruction to Asgard. After plunging our blades into his heart, we are then attacked by 2 of Odin's Valkyries named Hrist and Mist. After a battle that lasted 3 different stages, we finally defeated them and received the trophy Better Together. It is now time for Ragnarok. After Kratos agrees to become the general for Ragnarok, both he and Freya give a speech. After the speech, Kratos blows into Gjallarhorn and all of the realms open, including the one to Asgard. We enter Asgard and the attack has begun. We make our way through, and with the help of Sindri, we are able to get inside to where Odin is. We first fight Thor, who we eventually beat and convince that he shouldn't be helping Odin. Once Thor tells Odin that he is no longer helping him, Odin kills Thor. This is now when Kratos, Atreus and Freya are now all attacking Odin. Eventually we beat Odin. Atreus puts his soul into an orb, but then Sindri takes that orb and destroyed it, meaning Odin is no more. Now Ragnarok is attacking and we can't stop it. Freya does his best to hold off as we escape, and while we do, Freya unfortunately does not. After Atreus wakes up, we finally get the trophy for beating Odin, called Ragnarok. We are now in the post game. Atreus have gone off on his own adventure and we are left to travel with both Freya and Mimir. But first, before going through all the rounds and collecting everything that we need to collect, we of course need to attend the funeral of Brock. For attending the funeral, we receive the trophy, Funeral for a Friend. While in Svartalfheim, we return the Hammer of the Rebellion to receive the trophy, Rebel Leader. At this point I had realised that Svartalfheim is one of the larger realms, so I may as well stay here and collect everything that I possibly could collect for other trophies, and that is exactly what I did. After several hours I went through, completed the favours that I needed to complete, collected the collectibles that I needed to collect, and there was just one final thing that I needed to do. I just needed to free Lingbacker. I think that's how you pronounce his name, I have no clue. I made quick work of that and of course got the trophy, making amends. After spending just over 2 hours collecting everything in Svartalfheim, I went on over to Alfheim, and this was yet another huge area to do. Alfheim took me a little over 2 hours to fully collect everything in each area, complete several favours, and of course freeing the Helgufas for the trophy Fullgufa. This next area though, wow, this area has so much to do post game. The next realm I go to complete is Vanaheim, and this realm took me close to 5 hours to complete. There is so much to do, so many collectibles, so many favours, and yet it was a great time. It's always a hit and miss when it comes to collectibles in such a large game, and this game is definitely one where it doesn't feel like a chore to collect. Back to the trophies though. While we're here in Vanaheim, there are a few trophies that I managed to get. First up was finding Lunda's orb. Turns out it actually isn't Lunda's orb, it's actually a ball that her animal plays with. Yes, one of her favours were to actually go and fetch a ball for her. But for returning the ball, we received the trophy, New Friends. While in Vanaheim, one of the favours is to help Freya destroy items that tied her to Odin through her marriage so she can finally be free. After going through and finding 2 different objects, we finally made our way to the third, which is a sword. With this, however, she decided to take the sword, removing it from its location to symbolise all her ties to Odin, and for completing this favour, we received the trophy, It Was a Good Day. While talking to Lunda, and getting some upgrades for my weapons and armour, I realised that there was a trophy for obtaining all the shields. After buying just one, however, I had completed this and we received the trophy Phalanx. Next up, while going through all of the chests in the realm and collecting its contents, I collect a Horn of Bloodmead to increase my rage. Turns out this is the final thing that I needed to collect for the apples and horns, so we get the trophy Full Belly. Just 2 more trophies left now in Vanaheim before we can finally go to another realm. We first complete all of the Crater Hunt, which gives us the trophy Invasive Species. Then just round the corner from the last trophy, we return the final stag of the 4 seasons for the trophy Pure of Heart. Now that Vanaheim is completed, it is time to head to Midgard to do one of the last large maps in the game. We get a couple of trophies while we are here. First up is to finally collect all of the books that all of the realms has to offer. For collecting them, we collect the trophy, the Librarian. We then clear out 4 different raider encampments. These encampments are actually where we find Specky and Savannah. After clearing them out, we comfort and also pet them. For doing this, we get the trophy Besties. While collecting everything from every region, we collect one final thing to fully repair the Amulet of Yggdrasil. After repairing it, we receive the trophy How's It Going? Again, more collecting now, and this time we collect all of the artifacts for the trophy, the Curator. The final thing we need to now do in Midgard is to beat the King Hrolf in battle. This was probably the most difficult fight in the game. It took me so many attempts. Health is low, we finally defeat the king and we get the trophy, Grave Mistake. It is time for a new round. We made our way to Muspelheim. Here we need to complete all of the trials. This took me a bit of time to do, but thankfully for the trials, you just have to do the same thing but just in a different order to unlock a new trials. After doing this I think 15 times in total, we then obviously get a trophy, but first I had collected enough items to upgrade my last piece of armor to the max. For fully upgrading one armor piece set, I get the trophy, Ready for Commitment. So like I said, after beating all of the trials, I completed the last one for the trophy, Trials by Fire. There is just one more thing to do now in Muspelheim, and that is to defeat the final Valkyrie named Gina. After a really good fight, we don't defeat her, but she requests that Freya does. Freya accepts this and defeats her. For battling Gina, we receive the trophy, the True Queen. At this point, as long as we don't count the Platinum Trophy, we are just 4 trophies away, and there are actually only 3 more realms to visit. The first realm we visit is Jotunheim, as there is just one collectible here, which is one of the flowers. After quickly getting that flower, we move on to the next realm, which is Helheim. Again, we don't spend too much time in this realm as there are only one collectible that I need to get from here, which of course is yet again a flower. Now that that is done, we travel to the final realm of Niflheim. We find that there is a prison here and we find somebody trapped inside. I'm not going to spoil who it is, but you need to come here if you're playing this game because wow, I actually didn't expect that. Anyway, while we are exploring the prison, we find the last flower, which means we get the trophy, the Florist. I then head back to Lunda and get her to craft us the dragon armor set. For doing this, we get the trophy, Dragon Slayer. At this point, I realized I needed to get a trophy for collecting everything, but at this point I thought I already collected everything. It turns out I actually needed to craft some stuff, which were the relics. So I crafted all the relics and I received the trophy, the Collector. There is just one more trophy to go, and this was to return all the Lindworms to Ratataska. Yeah, I think that's his name. Anyway, after doing this, we received the trophy Rival Place, then the Platinum Trophy itself, the Bear and the Wolf. So this is actually my second playthrough of the game, but the first time I didn't actually do any of the post-game stuff, and after doing it now for this Platinum Trophy, I really regret not doing it back then. This game is absolutely fantastic, and it's such a great sequel to the 2018 game. A game that I highly recommend, and a game I highly recommend getting the Platinum for if you are thinking of doing it yourself.